details with our viewers. Meanwhile, we're shifting focus to something that has been the center of attention over the last couple of days. I'm of course talking about the markets. Now, investors have been rattled and they struggle to get a handle on President Donald Trump's sweeping and shifting tariff policies. Meanwhile, let's in fact give you an update on the market and how exactly they are performing today. Sensex had opened this morning at 74,347.14 points. It's peaked at 74,562.37 points. Meanwhile, the Nifty 50 opened at 22,508.65 points with 22,625 point peak. Today I have in fact the BSE Sensex open on my screen over here just to show you viewers a glimpse of what is exactly taken place over the past 5 days. Currently, the BSE stands at 74,564.60. It's of course fluctuating. You're just seeing it go up and down. Right now it's 74,557.02. But of course, in the last 5 days, if we've seen the graph, it was quite low. It went even below 73,000 on the 3rd and the 4th of March, and we can see the numbers slightly improving from the 5th of March. It went as low as 72,812.30 on the 3rd of March, and since then, since 5th, we've been seeing a slow and steady rise, and now it's of course at 74,559.73. As far as Nifty is concerned, I'll also show you the trends of the last 5 days. We've seen the graph go as low as 21,999.05 points, and it's slowly and steadily risen up over the last 2 days, in fact, and now it stands at 22,568.80 as of 11 a.m. this morning. With us on the broadcast is Dr. Sharad Kohli, senior economist. Good morning and thank you for joining us on Newsx. Trump, of course, his policies have been fluctuating. A couple of months back, he had stated that he would slap tariffs accounting for 25% against Mexico and Canada and 10% against China. Then, of course, he paused that. Once again, just a few days back, he stated once again that he'd slap these tariffs. Of course, Mexico, Canada, China, all of them countered this move. We've seen the global markets fluctuate a lot. What is your assessment of all of this, and how do you think India can, in a way, if not insulate itself, but at least try to cushion or reduce the adverse impact of the tariff wars that are going on?
Good morning, Pia. Good morning to the viewers of Newsx. This is so typical of Donald Trump, back and forth on announcements made in a hurry, and then later on you realize when the reality of the announcement sinks into you, you realize that probably it's the time to take it back or at least hold it for a while. I think this is just turning out to be the way I had anticipated, Pia. I'm so glad my analysis proved to be correct, because I was always sure that these reciprocal tariffs and this aggressive tariff war, trade war is not feasible in the long run, because America is not a big manufacturer. We know America is not a manufacturing base. America cannot afford to manufacture things, and America also cannot afford to, fuel inflation within its country. It has been reeling under inflation for the last 4 years. And, another round of inflation, I'm sure America cannot afford. So I think when Canada and Mexico and China, for that matter, decided to, hit back with tariffs, especially Canada and China, hit back with tariffs, I think President Trump must have realized it is not just going to impact inflation, it is also going to impact the exports we are making from America. So as far as India is concerned, I think India is not going to be harmed much, because, the reciprocal tariff policy, people need to understand is, it is whatever you tariff us, we are going to tariff you. So if, for example, if it's food products, so India exporting food products, America will levy on food products. So it is not very common for a country to be exporting textiles and importing textiles both. It's not very common. It does happen, but it doesn't happen too often. So I think the intricacies and the finer details of this reciprocal policy are yet to come out. But the good thing is that our Honorable Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, Minister of Commerce, is there. He's thrashing out item by item, list by list, as to where all we can reduce our tariffs. and where all we can accommodate and we can afford to make sure the goods land in America with higher tariffs and it doesn't impact the exports in India. So I think India, at the end of the day, as I had anticipated, is not going to be very adversely affected. And the effect on the markets, Pia, I think the markets are playing to the tunes of the tariff. As it decided to postpone for the last 2 days, we've been seeing the markets rising. Nifty has risen about 500 points. We track Nifty more because that tracks 50 shares. Sensex tracks 30 shares. So Nifty has been up by almost 500 points. It has recovered. And I think the shock of tariff is gradually getting absorbed and it is coming to terms with the reality that it's not an just to announce reciprocal tariffs and implement them as well. It is better said, what I would like to say.
All right, so of course, we will be keeping our eye out on what exactly is Trump's announcement going to be on the 2nd of April. That is something that he has stated while addressing the joint Congress in the United States of America. Just a few days back, he had stated that he will not be imposing reciprocal tariffs on the 1st of April due to April Fools, but he has clearly mentioned that we should keep our eyes peeled for announcements by the White House on the 2nd of April. He in fact singled out India and the auto tariffs that we imposed. So thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast this morning, of course, sharing your perspective on the markets. We will continue to track the markets every day on Newsx. Meanwhile, we're shifting focus towards what's happening as